When you think about a community, what's the real glue that holds it all together? It's got to be more than just the big Sunday service, right? Well, we stumbled upon a fascinating blueprint, kind of hidden in plain sight, an entire year's worth of weekly emails from just one local church. So let's dive in and really dissect the anatomy of what makes a modern community tick.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We're looking at 4 key pillars that seem to make it all work: the shared learning, all the social connections, the way they serve others, and how they mark time together throughout the year.
And really, it all boils down to this one question. We're going to skip the theory and just look at the evidence from these newsletters to see what it actually takes week after week to build something that really lasts. Okay, first up, let's talk about the foundation. This is the intellectual and spiritual core. Because any strong community needs a shared story, right? A common language to help make sense of the world. And for this group, that all starts with teaching. So you can see their learning journey is really mapped out for the whole year. It's not random. They move methodically from these big historical stories to seasonal themes, and then they'll do a deep dive into a core text. And get this, they're not shying away from the tough stuff like, why do bad things happen to good people? This creates this incredible shared experience where everyone is wrestling with these big ideas together.
And the teaching style itself, it's not dry or academic at all. Check out this quote from a sermon summary. It describes John the Baptist as the warm-up band to the main event. I mean, how great is that? It's this kind of relatable, punchy language that makes these huge, complex ideas feel really immediate and easy to grasp.
But here's the thing. The learning doesn't just stop on Sunday. Every single week, they have this family discussion guide that pushes the ideas into daily life. It's asking questions that aren't about facts or trivia, but about how it applies to you personally. It's basically asking, so how does this idea actually change the way you live?
Now, all this shared learning, it builds directly into our second pillar, the social fabric. Because, a belief system is powerful for sure, but it's the real human connections that truly weave a community together.
As you look through the calendar for the year, you see this constant, steady rhythm of informal get-togethers. We're talking Taco Tuesdays, Thanksgiving potlucks, meals out at local hibachi or Mexican places. These aren't complicated, high-stress events. They're just simple, consistent chances for people to share a meal and just, hang out.
And they are so intentional about the next generation. It's not just one weekly youth group meeting and that's it. It's s'mores, boba tea runs, volleyball, pizza parties, ultimate frisbee, even a big trip to an amusement park. They're creating all these different low-pressure, genuinely fun environments where friendships can actually happen.
So they learn together and they build relationships together. That brings us to the third pillar, which is all about where they point that energy, outward. This is about service that goes way beyond their own walls.
And their service is just, wow, it's so varied. You've got fundraising after a hurricane, hands-on volunteering at a local rescue mission, direct support for a foster care organization, and then you have global mission trips. It shows this really consistent pattern of purpose that's both hyperlocal and international.
And the impact? It's not some vague goal. It's super tangible and specific. I love this. After Hurricane Helene, they held a simple bake sale. And from just that one sale, they raised exactly $248.85. That's real money from real action.
And that effort connects directly to a real person. Just a week later, the newsletter shares this message from the director of the Isaiah 117 house, thanking them for their support. It creates this amazing feedback loop. What we did actually made a difference to someone.
All right, the final piece of this whole blueprint is about how the community moves through time together. This covers everything from making big decisions, to celebrating personal moments, to observing these shared seasonal traditions.
Even what seems like a small decision is made together. When it was time to name their worship center, they put it to a vote. And look how close it was. Just a single vote made the difference. It just shows that this is a process where everybody gets a voice.
And personal milestones are treated like community celebrations. When one member, Aaron, got baptized, it was announced as a joyous occasion for the whole group. An individual's journey is seen as a part of the bigger community story.
They also navigate huge changes together. When it was time to confirm a new senior pastor, which can be a really divisive moment, the vote was almost 90% in favor. That level of agreement, it just screams that this is a community that has built an incredible amount of trust. The community also marks its year with these deeply meaningful, shared traditions, like Advent. The newsletter takes the time to define it for everyone as a season for spiritual renewal and anticipation, a time to prepare.
And they approach it with a really clear structure. Each of the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas gets its own specific theme: hope, peace, joy, and love. This gives the entire community a shared, collective way to experience the season together. So, when you pull all of these pieces together, the teaching, the fun, the service, the milestones, what does it all point to? Well, it seems to fuel this central conviction, which is captured perfectly in this quote from their Easter service. It's this powerful sense of hope and purpose. But why is building this kind of community so unbelievably critical right now?
Well, a guest speaker gave them a pretty startling answer. He shared that a staggering 64% of young people leave the church during their high school and college years. 64%. Suddenly, all those youth group boba socials and volleyball games feel a lot more important, don't they? They're not just fun activities, they might actually be essential.
And that same speaker offered a potential blueprint for keeping young people engaged. And look at this list. It connects directly back to the pillars we've been talking about: consistent teaching and reflection, and active service, both inside and outside the church walls. So the very things that define this community are the same things that are thought to build a lasting connection.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. After digging through an entire year of these weekly emails, the blueprint seems pretty clear. Maybe the secret to a vibrant, lasting community isn't some huge, flashy program or one single amazing event. What if the real strength is just in the constant, overlapping rhythm of tacos and bake sales and shared questions and volleyball games? What if it's just all the small things done together week after week after week?